Okay, today's subject actually brings a tear to my eye and probably will do the same thing to many of you viewing this. What I'm talking about is onions. Well, you thought I was going to talk about something else, right? No, I'm going to talk about some of the beneficial effects of onions, including a connection between eating onions and increasing testosterone levels. There's been a couple of previous videos and blogs and mention of it on Instagram that onions can boost testosterone. So we'll look into that. But in the first, let's talk about the let's say the nutrient content of onions. One medium onion has only 44 calories, but it's fairly high in vitamin C. It's also it's rich in a couple of B complex vitamins, including folate, vitamin B6. Onions are a fairly good source of potassium, which a lot of people don't get enough of. You need at least about 4,200 milligrams of potassium a day. A lot of people don't get that much, especially if you don't eat fruits and vegetables. The average potassium intake of Americans is less than half the recommended daily value of, it's 4,700 milligrams a day. Most people are lucky to get 2,000. Potassium is needed for cellular function, fluid balance, nerve transmission, kidney function, and muscle contraction. If you consume enough potassium, it'll help your body eliminate sodium, which in turn will help lower blood pressure. So a food like onions that contains potassium is very good for you. Onions can also benefit your heart because it contains antioxidants and compounds that fight inflammation, which decrease blood triglyceride or fat in the blood. It helps to reduce cholesterol levels. One of the elements found in onions is called quercetin. Quercetin is a flavonoid antioxidant. It's a potent anti-inflammatory. It helps decrease heart disease risk factors, including high blood pressure. One study of 70 people who were overweight and had high blood pressure found that a dose of 162 milligrams per day of quercetin-rich onion extract significantly reduced systolic blood pressure by 3 to 6 milliliters of mercury compared to a placebo. Onions have also been shown to have an effect on decreasing cholesterol levels, probably from the fiber content. Like I say, it reduces inflammation. Onions are also high in antioxidants, which are involved in causing cellular damage and contribute to various diseases, including cancer, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Onions contain 17 different flavonoid antioxidants. Red onions in particular contain type of antioxidant called anthocyanins, which are very, very potent antioxidants and have a really good effect on helping prevent disease. A study of 43,880 men showed that habitual intake as high as 613 milligrams per day of anthocyanins was correlated to a 14% lower risk of non-fatal heart attacks. A 2018 review showed that consuming high amounts of anthocyanin foods was associated with a low risk of heart disease and heart disease mortality. Anthocyanins also seem to help protect against cancer and diabetes. Speaking of cancer, sulfur-containing foods such as garlic and onions have been linked to lower risk of certain types of cancer, particularly stomach and colorectal cancer. A review of 26 studies showed that people consume the highest amount of allium vegetables is garlic and onions, leeks, were 22% less likely to be diagnosed with stomach cancer compared to those who consume the lowest amounts. A 2014 review of 16 studies in 13,333 people showed that those with the highest onion intake had a 15% reduced risk of colorectal cancer compared to those with the lowest intake. Again, the cancer-fighting compounds that are in garlic and onions are the sulfur compounds and flavonoid oxidants. Onions provide a substance called onion A, which is onion A is a sulfur-containing compound that has been shown to decrease tumor development and slow the spread of ovarian and lung cancer in test tube in vitro studies. Onions also contain fisetin and quercetin. which inhibit tumor growth. Fisetin and quercetin, by the way, in combination, more recent studies have shown that those two flavonoids are very potent at helping the body to eliminate senescent cells. Senescent cells are cells that no longer replicate, but they do produce highly inflammatory proteins that cause systemic inflammation and lead to various degenerative diseases and greatly speed up the aging process. So fisetin and quercetin, which are both found in onions, actually help you to probably slow down or minimize the effects of aging. So what else can they say? Oh, it helps, onions also help control blood glucose, which is important to people who have diabetes or insulin sensitive, also known as prediabetes. An older study of 42 people with type 2 diabetes demonstrated that eating 3.5 ounces or 100 grams of raw red onion significantly reduced fasting blood sugar after 4 hours. Other studies have also showed that. A rat study showed that the rats with diabetes who were fed food containing 5% dried onion powder for 2 months showed decreased fasting blood sugar levels at lower blood triglyceride and cholesterol compared to a control group. And again, it's the sulfur compounds in onions that help to protect against diabetes. Other studies show that onions may help increase bone density. A study in 24 middle-aged and older women showed that those who consume 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters of onion juice daily for 8 weeks had improved bone mineral density compared to a control group. Another study of 507 older women found that those who ate onions at least once a day had a 5% greater overall bone density than those who ate them once a month or less. Onions also, as you might imagine, have, just like garlic, have antibacterial properties. Onions can fight various strains of dangerous bacteria, such as E. coli, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Staphylococcus aureus, and Bacillus cereus. Onion extract has been shown to inhibit the growth of Vibrio cholerae, which is a organism that causes what's it called? Cholera's. Oh, I can't even remember what it's called. Anyway, it protects against a certain cholera, I believe it's called. And quercetin is thought to be the active ingredient. Some in vitro or test tube studies show that quercetin could inhibit the growth of H. pylori, which is a type of bacteria that's associated with both ulcers and stomach cancer. Onions also, because of their fiber content and prebiotic effect, are very good for your intestinal microbiome, which is the population of bacteria and other organisms existing in the colon. Very, very important for health. I've talked about that in previous videos. Prebiotics are, again, non-digestible types of fiber that you can't break down, but the intestinal bacteria can break down. When the bacteria break down these types of fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids, which means fatty acids with only a limited amount of carbons, like 6 to 8 carbons. These include acetate, propionate, and butyrate that are very, very important for preventing what they call leaky gut syndrome, where you get like an opening in your gut that allows toxic byproducts of bacteria to get into your blood, which cause systemic inflammation. So what else? Let's talk a little about this most controversial aspect of onions, which is its effect on testosterone. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that just about there's been several studies showing that onions increase testosterone. That's the good news. The bad news is that every study except one, which was a 2017 study published in a very obscure Japanese medical journal, involved humans. So everything I'm about to tell you is mostly derived from animal, particularly rat studies. Now the main reason why onions might increase testosterone is it because it increases the production and release of luteinizing hormone, which is called a gonadotropin. Luteinizing hormone, or LH, is released from the anterior pituitary, or front part of the pituitary gland, travels in the blood to the testes. When it gets to the Leydig cells of the testes, it stimulates the production of testosterone by regulating the expression of an enzyme called 17-beta hydroxydehydrogenase. And what that does, that catalyzes, it's an enzyme that catalyzes the conversion of androstenedione into testosterone, and then you get it's a several steps, enzymatic steps. You get starting with cholesterol, it's converted into testosterone. There's a number of studies have shown that onions have a positive effect on production of luteinizing hormone. A study with Wistar rats showed that giving them fresh onion juice at 1 gram 1 gram a day for 20 consecutive days, the rats that got this showed higher levels of luteinizing hormone compared to the rats that didn't get it. Aqueous onion extract significantly increased luteinizing hormone in both normal and aluminum chloride treated male rats. Again, they thought it's attributed to an increased level of luteinizing hormone. When you take testosterone or anabolic steroids, there's a feedback mechanism which it's picked up by the hypothalamus in the brain, which immediately stops producing gonadotropin-releasing hormone. Gonadotropin-releasing hormone travels to the pituitary gland and stimulates the synthesis and release of luteinizing hormone. So, when you're on testosterone or steroids, however, testosterone itself only decreases the production of luteinizing hormone. It doesn't completely stop it. It stops it by 66%, and that's human studies. Another way that onion can help increase testosterone is it actually helps to lower, because of its antioxidant activity, it lowers the accumulation of what they call reactive oxygen species, also known as free radicals. Free radicals have been shown to interfere with the production of testosterone, and also these free radicals cause oxidative damage in the Leydig cells of the testes, which produce testosterone. In fact, one theory of why men tend to show lower testosterone levels as they get older is because of cumulative free radical damage to the Leydig cells of the testes, where the Leydig cells just don't produce enough testosterone after a while. That's one of the theories of actually what causes the lowering of testosterone with age. Again, by enhancing the antioxidant defense mechanism in Leydig cells, onion may increase the production of testosterone. They've given various chemicals that cause damage to the testes in rats through an oxidative mechanism. When they give them onions, it blocks the effects of these chemicals. Among 28 vegetables, onions were found to rank the highest in quercetin content. Quercetin, again, is a potent flavonoid that helps protect against many diseases: asthma, diabetes, cancer, arthritis, osteoporosis, and neurodegenerative. And it's one of the main antioxidants in onions. And the quercetin I should also tell you, quercetin is very hard to absorb orally. Usually only get about 1 to 2% of it absorption. But it turns out that the quercetin that's found in onions is much more absorbable than other sources of quercetin. So quercetin itself significantly increased testosterone level in rats that were given arsenic, which caused reproductive damage. So there's another way that onions help to increase testosterone also there's another way. Onions, the quercetin in onions prevented testicular glutathione. Glutathione is another major endogenous antioxidant, which also helps to protect against oxidative damage in the testes. The onion has an anti-hyperglycemic effect. Showing that it helps to control, like for instance, diabetics who tend to produce less testosterone because of excess glucose. It turns out that compounds in onions can also help protect against that. Still, another way that onion could possibly increase testosterone is it stimulates the production of nitric oxide. Most of you who are viewing this video probably are familiar with nitric oxide. Basically, it's a compound that's produced from the amino acid arginine. When you consume arginine, when it gets in the blood, there's a enzyme in the endothelium, a lining of blood vessels, called nitric oxide synthase. As soon as it encounters arginine, it converts arginine into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide dilates blood vessels, stimulates blood flow to all organs. It also maintains the suppleness of arteries and blood vessels, thus helping to prevent cardiovascular disease by preventing atherosclerosis, or hardening of the arteries, as it's idiomatically known. So again, by enhancing nitric oxide, onions stimulate blood flow to the testes, which has an effect on increasing testosterone level. There's another way that it does that. Onions stimulate something called 5-AMP protein kinase, also known as AMPK. AMPK control is an energy sensor in muscles. When AMPK goes up, your muscles burn more fat and less carbohydrate. It's shown that AMPK enhances the production of testosterone in the Leydig cells of the testes, and quercetin activates AMPK. So in that sense, it can also help increase testosterone levels. So I think that's about it for onions. I think I covered most of it. I really wanted to talk in this video about the effect of onions on testosterone. So what can we conclude based on the present studies in the medical literature pertaining to onions and testosterone? Well, there's been, like I say, quite a few rat studies showing that onions really do raise testosterone. Unfortunately, these are rat studies. There's only one human study that showed that it works, but since onions provide some of the other benefits I mentioned in this video, and there is a possibility that they might help at least stabilize testosterone, and if you're low in testosterone, they might actually increase testosterone, similar to the way certain herbal supplements, for example, Tongkat Ali, or also known as Long Jack, will increase testosterone, particularly if you're on the low side of testosterone. If you're already producing a lot of testosterone, Tongkat Ali won't do much, and the same is probably true with onions. In other words, the more problems you're having with testosterone, the greater the effect onions will probably have on increasing and helping to maintain testosterone levels. So that's all I'll say about onions. Full disclosure, I don't eat onions, even though I just spent close to 20 minutes talking about the benefits. I tell you, onions nauseate me. I do take garlic. I have garlic. I take a garlic supplement, which provides very similar compounds to onions. I take the equivalent of 2 garlic cloves a day in supplemental form. So I am getting most of the benefits of onions. But however, if you can handle it, eat onions. They're really good for you. If you want more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research you can use today, ergogenic aids, hormonal therapy, effective fat loss techniques, supplement science, which supplements work and which ones don't. I will tell you the truth. I'm not associated with any supplement company, unlike 98% of the people that do these YouTube videos. That you'll always find, especially, here's a tip. If you see any YouTube videos where we have the information section there right under the video, if you see a whole list of links to supplements with 20% discount or something like that, those people are shills. They're working. They're paid off by supplement companies. So I wouldn't trust those videos because they're basically being they're on the payroll of supplement companies. So that's just a little tip for you. You know, I when I look at these videos, if I see that, I immediately turn it off. I won't even watch the videos, no matter what these people are saying. But anyway, so you know, all those subjects are in Applied Metabolics, Women's Health and Fitness. I cover. It's 30 to 45 pages every month. There's no ads. I'm not selling anything but information. It's not expensive at all. It costs less than a cup of Starbucks latte each day, but you'll get a lot more benefit from Applied Metabolics. It's www.appliedmetabolics.com. When it's a monthly publication, comes out on the first of every month. When you subscribe, you could send me an email. I'll send you a invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information on exercise, nutrition, and general medicine. That's only for subscribers. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage where each day I post, I'm getting confused, where any current subscriber could send me a short question about anything they might have read in Applied Metabolics or anything that comes to mind pertaining to nutrition and exercise. And as a bonus for their subscription, I will answer their question. I will personally answer the question. This only pertains to current subscribers. I don't answer unsolicited questions. So that's about it. I can't think of anything else. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter and adopt a dog. And by the way, while I'm the subject of dogs, it's best not to give even though onions and garlic are very, very healthy for humans, don't be tempted to give your dog onions or garlic. It's not good for them. It could be toxic for them. Do not give your dog onions or garlic. So, but you know, adopt a dog. They're the most loyal animals in the world. They'll be your best friend for their life. They live for you. You know, they literally live for you. So take care, and thank you for listening.